Welcome to Viking basketball with Coach Barret Peery as the Vikings are finally home. Portland State has been on the road for much of the last 6 weeks. 5 of the first 7 Big Sky games have been on the road, and you can go all the way back into December. 9 of the last 12 games on the road. And Coach, before we talk specifics and teams and players and all that, let's talk a little bit about the road. I know it's been...
You made me tired. Just what you just said just made me tired. But anyway, sorry.
All right. Certainly it's been a challenge to play so many games on the road. And you've had successes, actually quite a few road wins. But tell us a little bit about maybe some things people don't realize that a team goes through when it's on the road that makes it a little more challenging besides the opponents you see.
Well, I hope that our guys have learned a lot from it. I hope we've gained some toughness. We have a winning record on the road, which not many people can brag about. We have a very good record on the road. So, you know, you talk about, you know, road travel and what goes on. You know, last week was a perfect example. You know, as we traveled from here to Salt Lake City, 3-hour flight or whatever it was, 2-hour flight, then a 3-hour bus ride up to Pocatello, and you try to practice and all those kind of things and film and walk through and shooting. The road is challenging. The road is difficult. You know, you try to be a smart head coach and try to figure out what is good enough but not too much for your team to try to have legs to win the game. The first half in Pocatello, I thought I had taken their legs away and really screwed us up. You know, when we gave up 51 points to Idaho State, who wants to play much slower than us. Our guys found enough legs to come back and win and outscore them by 18 or 20 points in the second half. But, you know, the road, you have to be very strategic. You spend a lot of time probably overthinking what's good and bad for your team. That next day when we went to Ogden, all we did is watch film and walk through. We didn't make our guys sweat on that Friday because I wanted to have our legs for Saturday. I thought we had good legs for Saturday, and we were just in a dogfight against a very good team.
All right, and you led right into something I wanted to talk about, and that's comebacks. Last week, Portland State on the road comes from 16 points down in the second half against Idaho State to get a victory. And I went back and looked at the season record. The Vikings have come back on the road 6 times to win games this year. 11 points, 16 points, 14 points down. And, I mean, it all started clear back in November at Portland, trailing by 7 there in the last few minutes. What type of resilience does this team have to really pull those comebacks off?
Well, you know, you look at our team, one thing you know is they're never going to go away. It looks like I'm a bad first-half coach, and we do decently in the second half. But one thing is our team never goes away. We've done that at home as well. Our guys are very resilient. They have a lot of toughness, and they've shown that they don't go away. I don't think that's ever in our mind when we're down, whether it's at home or on the road. I don't think it's in our mind that, oh, we're in trouble and, you know, they're going to kick our butt. I think our guys just find that, you know, we're going to figure out a way, and we battle and we scratch and we claw and we find a way. You know, at Weber, we have the ball with 20 seconds to go with a chance to tie or win. You know, I asked my staff if I would have said on Wednesday that we will have already beaten Idaho State and then we'll have the ball down 2 on the road at Weber, who's a very good opponent, with a chance to win. Will you take that? And they said, yeah, of course. I would have said the same. So we had our opportunity for sure.
All right, and we will get to this week's game, Sacramento State, in just a moment. But Coach, I want to talk to you about a few players, and we'll talk about different players here in the coming weeks. But I want to just mention a few guys and get your comments on what they've meant to the team. In particular, recently, guys playing really, really well. Deontay North, second leading scorer in the Big Sky. In fact, he's within a half a point of being the leading scorer in the Big Sky. 10 of his last 11 games, over 20 points. Now, here's a guy who has really been a steady Eddie for you guys and such a key player. And talk about what he brings to the team.
Well, you almost just plan on 20 points from him, and then you try to say, you know, you try to get to him and push him and say, hey, how about 9 rebounds? How about 5 assists? And, you know, don't turn it over too much, and we'll go from there. But he's been steady Eddie, like you've said. You know, he's going to find a way to make baskets. His shooting percentages have been pretty solid. He's found a way to get to the line. He made free throws, 8 out of 9 against Weber. He got to the offensive glass. He's been steady. He's scored the ball for us at a high level, and, you know, which puts him right there at the top of the league.
Okay, another guy I want to bring up because he probably had his best week as a Viking. That's Ryan Edwards, the big fella. 19 points, 10 rebounds, 3 block shots at Idaho State, 12, 10, and 4 block shots at Weber State, and you really have to be pleased. Looks like he's kind of really finding his game at a key point of the season.
Well, I think you and I spent the summer talking about that, the fact that we're going to have to use that preseason to try to get him comfortable, just playing again. He sat for a long, long time. I know he went through Gonzaga and a great program and a great opportunity, but playing time is playing time, and I think that he's had moments, he's had glimpses, he's had stretches where he's been good for us, but I think his consistency has been much better. The best thing was for him, we all know that he can score the ball. Shoot, he had 11 points in 8 minutes in a very well-officiated Montana game. And so, last week he got real minutes and was able to stay on the floor, and he proved himself very well. So I think he's finding himself. I think he's getting his confidence. I think he's getting his legs. I think he's understanding where he fits in the system. And in defense of him, when we took Ryan, it was, tongue-in-cheek, halfway joking, halfway serious. With how we play, Ryan was going to have to take some time to learn how he would fit with how we play, but we thought he was too good of a player to not have on our team, so that was that.
All right, and I'm going to mention one more guy, and this is a guy who hasn't played, and we talked about him a little bit, and he's been missing the last couple weeks. We hope to get him back here in a week or so, and that's Brandon Hollins. And if you've watched the Vikings play at all this year, you've seen him at the front of that press and how important he is to the front of that full-court press, and he must be pretty important to you because when I came into the gym a few minutes ago, you were running with him. You can see a little sweat on the brow here. You were running with him to try to get him back in shape, get him back from illness, and talk about missing Brandon Hollins.
He came off that Idaho game, which seems like a year ago, which was, 2.5 weeks ago. He was sick that day. He went for like 13-9, helped us win that ball game, dislocates his thumb in the game. I tell him, pop it back in, you big wimp, and let's go. He does, and we win the game. Ever since that game, he's been sick as a dog. His flu turned into pneumonia, a lung problem, a lung infection. The thumb became kind of a secondary injury to us because we were worried that he was going to not make it out of his bed for a long, long time. We've got him out of the bed now, but then he had to see the doctor a couple different times. They haven't cleared his thumb yet. He's got a brace on it. He practiced for the first time today, and then we did a little extra running after, like you mentioned. But like many people have mentioned to you and I don't think we realize sometimes how much we miss Brandon. Whether he has stats or not, he brings us energy. He's a great voice. He is our guy in the huddle that has a voice. He is the guy that echoes what I say. And I've missed him maybe more than anybody just because he's an energy bunny for me. And I think whether he's in the game or out of the game, he just does things to pick people up. And you've seen him make those crazy plays, that aren't, you don't draw those plays up that he makes, the deflection, to pick up the ball, dunk it in, get another steal, whatever it may be. He's that one guy that has that ability to make those crazy plays.
All right, and I'm sure he's going to be flattered to be referred to as an energy bunny. But Brandon Hollins, yeah, that's right. Brandon Hollins, hope to have him back here in a week or so. All right, we're going to talk what's coming up, and what's coming up is a lot of home games. Portland State hosting Sacramento State this Saturday, 1 o'clock, Lewis and Clark College. This is the first of 3 straight at home, and the Vikings have a whole bunch of road games, home games, 7 of them coming down the stretch. You got to get out and watch the Vikings. Let's talk Sacramento State. Now, the Vikings open conference play with a loss at Sacramento State in a close game. Hornets came back to get a victory there, and the thing that they did really well, first of all, Justin Strings had a huge game for Sacramento State, but the thing they did really well is handle that pressure.
Did a great job. I thought we were not very aggressive when we were in Sacramento. We need to be more aggressive with them, but hats go off to them as far as what Strings did, and a couple of the other guys just hitting shots. Coach did a great job managing tempo. We did not look like ourselves coming off that Christmas break that game. So I hope more than anything against Sacramento, we look like ourselves in that game, but give them all the credit in round 1.
Sacramento State shot 60% from the field in that game, and I know that has to be a bit of a concern. You're going to give up some open shots by the nature of the way you play, but you certainly want to get those numbers down. What's going to be the key for a victory this Saturday?
Very fundamental. No open looks, sprint to players that need to be contested and challenged, and then ball pressure. Our ball pressure was non-existent in that game. We were kind of evaluating things like deflections and traps and different things like that in that game. We didn't do a good job, and then when you let really good players get rolling, like Strings, like we did, we let him get rolling, get a lot of confidence. He took it home for him, and he did a great job. Give him all the credit in the world.
All right, Coach, we're going to give you a chance to hit the showers. You need a shower after that workout. Remind you once again, the Vikings host the Hornets 1 o'clock this Saturday, Lewis and Clark College. Get all your information at govikes.com.